The audio oops.
Hold on a second.
I have the audio oops.
I should pee, but I'm going to hold it.
Hold it, Johnson.
Hold
it.
Going to hold my Johnson.
Hold it. Hold it. All right there. Hold it. Good. Hold it.
All right, I think we're ready to go. Let's record. Want to do it?
I'll do it.
All righty, let's do it. It begins in, bring that over here, 3, 2, 1.
Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
This is the final score, episode 170 for September 3rd, 2014. 2014. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the final score. This is the video game podcast for the rest of us. I'm Scott Johnson. That's Brian Dunaway. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Scott Johnson. You know what I've been doing?
Hold on. Let me just take a wild guess. Hold on a second. Let me compose myself.
Right.
Playing some video games?
Nope. I've been at Dragon Con. I haven't had time playing no video games.
That's right. You've been busy. You guys ran the, you and Nicole ran the podcast track over there.
Right. Got to see all the, see a lot of the Frog Panthers. They were there. Had a lot of fun.
Did you pretty much have Tom Merritt on every possible panel possible?
Oh, dear Lord. Tom Merritt and Veronica Belmont. They love to be on the panels. And Justin Robert Young, too, man. He was all over the place.
Yeah, he loves it. He's into that. Give him some stage time. He'll take it. He'll eat it.
Brian Brushwood. Nicole was there. Speaking of Nicole.
Yeah, she's not here. She's feeling under the weather from the trip. Which can happen, you know. 4 days in Atlanta, everyone's all sweaty and gross in their costumes. They're walking between hotels and giving each other their diseases. I mean, this is how it goes.
Right? Oh, I made so many mistakes. I mean, so many. I'd be walking along, like having a good time, and I'd realize I'm just rubbing my hand along the handrails, just rubbing my hand.
Yeah, that's the worst. Because then you touch your face, and then the diseases.
You ever play that game? Was it Pandemic? What's that game that they have on the
Pandemic,
iPad?
right?
Is that it? Pandemic? Yeah,
Pandemic,
that's right.
or it's on Steam as well. Something Dick.
Pandora.
And so pandemic, epidemic, something.
Right. Every time I do that, I always think, oh man, I've just lit up this whole state.
Yeah.
For death.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good. Bring it back to South Carolina. Spread it around a little bit. Help other people's immune systems grow as yours diminishes.
We got some immunities.
Here's the other deal, just in the way of programming notes. I keep meaning to mention this every week, and I never remember to do it. If you want to listen to us record this show live, we record it on Wednesday afternoons. Now, sometimes it's at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Sometimes it's at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, but usually right around there. So keep your eye on our Twitter account, at TFS Show. And if you want to watch it live, you can go to frogpants.com/live, and there's a chat room link and like an embedded IRC channel or information to set up your own client, whatever you want to do.
You said IRC channel, and you dropped out for a second. All I heard was C channel, and I was
C
like,
channel.
What's
the C channel. You ever been to the C channel? Oh, it's a hell of a thing. The C channel. So yeah, here we are. Let's talk about games. I played some. I have stuff.
You were home.
I did. Hey, what are you playing? Played a bunch of. It sounds like a broken record. I played a lot more Diablo 3 on both PS4 and PC.
No, wait. What's this Diablo 3 you're playing?
Yeah, I know. First time ever you've heard me mention it, right?
What is that exactly?
It's a little mom and pop operation, small game by an indie developer. Came out of nowhere, and it's basically.
Did you get your soul patch? Did you get your soul patch updated? Did you get that?
It's like Diner Dash with. No, yeah, I did get the soul patch, the 2.10 soul patch. Which by the way, you coined that, and I think it's the best name for that patch. I don't know why they didn't do that. That seems like a great idea. Just call it the Soul Patch. That game remains rad. I think it's one of the great turnarounds in gaming history for a game that I already liked in its original form, but got so much better when they updated it to 2.0, and then later with the expansion. And then since, there's been great content since, and that console version is just awesome. People I know who normally don't like these kinds of games at all are completely enamored and hooked on it and can't stop playing it. Right. It's a real feat. I like it a lot.
What's this? I'm on the Diablo site.
Yeah.
Which is Battle.net, and I'm
there.
You
can go to Diablo.com, I think, and it forwards you there or something.
Right. And I'm looking at it. I see this green leaf, and it says Season 1 now live.
Yeah.
So
want me to explain?
Yeah, but so explain that to me. Is that
Sure.
is that just the Diablo show? What is that?
No. So here's how that works. That's funny you say that because a few people have been confused about that because I do that show in seasons and then they announce the season feature in the game and now it's a little confusing.
Season of the Witch. Remember that?
That was the stupid, terrible
Nicolas Cage?
film. Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad. Gosh, I don't want to think about that movie again. Yeah, so the way that the seasons work is you start a new. They started last Friday. That was the launch day for the seasons. The patch came out a few days before that, and you start a new character, fresh, no gold, no shared resources with your other characters you may have. I mean, I've got like, I don't know, 50 million gold and 5 high level characters and stuff. But this new guy,
I have 0 high level characters and like 20 gold, maybe.
Yeah, you're not doing real good. So I go in there, you start a new guy. I started a monk because I've never played a monk, so I thought this would be a good one to experiment with.
I like the monks.
Monks are fun.
That's my primary character.
He's pretty good. I like it. I'm not a big melee guy normally, but I do find that I prefer melee on the console, which is a little weird. I do like it there.
That is odd.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I prefer ranged on the computer, and I prefer that on the. Maybe it's because I can just get right up in there and mash buttons and just hack into dudes. I don't know.
Right.
Oh, it's so well done. Anyway, point is, there's the dude. There's my guy. And you start him at level nothing with 0 anything. He's got to start fresh. And your goal for a lot of people is to see how quickly you can do it, to be world first on how quick you can level one of these guys to 70. And the season lasts for, I forget what it was.
It says that
2 months, 3 months, is it?
Let's see. I'm looking at the website now. It says seasonal hero, so you can get your seasonal hero, I guess, for your Halloween.
Yeah.
They're optional, and it doesn't really say how long. I guess
it's
just
3 months.
Maybe just from. I'm gonna say maybe just season to season. So maybe we got kind of like a fall season now. We have like a.
They might do it in quarters. That's a good point. Like there's just the quarterly breakdown of the year. I don't know, but
right.
But there's no connection to actual. There's no autumn or fall motif here. It's just you're playing this dude as fast and furious as you can. I'm playing it only and exclusively with Ralph and Matt, Dark Anders, because I just really wanted to play it that way. But it's with friends, and we've been streaming it, and we're already level 24, and we only played one 3-hour session so far and got to 24, which is pretty rad. I'm not the kind of player that's going to be able to compete in the whole like who gets there first thing. So what I'd rather do, because the other advantage of this thing is there are a bunch of perks, legendary gear, and some other stuff, these conquests that are only available in the season play. So there are other reasons to accomplish a season or to get as high as you can during a season. The other part that's cool is when you're done, all that stuff, including the character and any gold you earned, rolls over into the larger pool, which is your shared account with all your money. You now have that high-level character to play with anytime you want. You get to keep the stuff that were only available in Season 1, things like that. It's a different way of playing, and it's kind of not unlike Hearthstone does this with their ranked play. Basically, you play ranked for however long it is, and then it resets every quote-unquote season, if you will. Right. It's a new, just kind of a new and different way to play, and that combined with the other content in this thing, the greater rifts, the refinement to certain systems and stuff, is just a really, really nice update. That stuff is coming to console, but not day and date, so I don't know when that update hits the console. My guess is probably another few weeks, is my guess.
Right.
It's really strong, just remains good, and I cannot remember the last time. You know what? I'm going to say this is the first time where I simultaneously was interested in playing the same game on 2 platforms concurrently. Like, I'm not having a problem going, you know what, let's play a little console Diablo, and I'm not going, I'd rather just be on the PC. Like, I am cool switching around. Right. And I'm enjoying it in both places for different reasons, but enjoying it nonetheless. So, anyway, game's great.
It looks great. And, I've been into the, I don't know why, but I've been into the plush stuff lately. Shut up.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
And,
look, I don't judge you. I'm not judging you. It's fine.
I'm looking here. If you've probably seen my microphone, I got my Domo sock monkey thing. So, but I'm looking at I might have to put a new microphone guard up for my microphone. I might have to get this treasure goblin plush they got.
Yeah, treasure goblins are great. Oh, that's the other thing that's going on right now. They have I think it ends today or tomorrow or something.
$30 though.
Yeah, they're expensive.
That takes some real world treasure to purchase.
I'll bet I get one by BlizzCon.
Purchase that. I hate you. You better not.
I bet I do.
They're sent it to me.
Or at some point I'll probably get one. I mean, I ended up with a bunch of plushies from Nerdtacular I didn't have to give away that are here somewhere.
Jerks.
But none of them are the Treasure Goblin. But right now there's double or 100% additional gold find, which means you're going to get a lot more gold in the game. And there are 2 Treasure Goblins. Every time you would normally find 1 Treasure Goblin kind of randomly in a dungeon or a zone or whatever, there will be 2 there hanging out. So double the pleasure, double the money, double the everything. That ends, I think, this weekend. I'm not totally sure on that. I'm totally digging it.
Digging it.
Now, there's a lot of chatter in the chat room again about how can you move your saves around. If you own Diablo 3 on PS3 or Xbox 360, those saves can move to the newer consoles, and it doesn't. And I don't mean just only by brand. Like if you had a 360 and you now have a PS4, those character saves will move to the PS4 or the Xbox One and vice versa. They all do it. The only transfers that aren't possible right now are character transfers from console to PC or PC to console.
That makes sense.
I kind of understand why they do it, and it's okay with me. However, I would love this one feature. Check this out. Check out the ID on Scott because it's pretty good.
Go for it.
All they need to do is say, look, if you tie your console game, which you can do in the game, if you tie that to your Battle.net account, and you can do that now. That function should go check your Battle.net account and go, oh, he's got a bunch of high-level 70s. He's beat the game multiple times, or he's beat it once is enough. Let's go ahead and unlock adventure mode and rifts and stuff for him now. Let's give him the option. He can play the story if he wants to, but unlock all that just like new characters on the PC. If I want to play a new guy now, I don't have to go and do the story again. I can just go level up through grouping and, through bounties and through rifts. So let me do that on the console because the console recognizes my PC save. Now I realize there's not a ton of crossover. Like this isn't a problem for a lot of people, but I personally would really appreciate it. Now I'm enjoying that story game, and I'm playing with the kids solely on the console with these characters. I'm not playing with anybody else. I want this to be kind of our time. And we would probably still do that, but I would love the option to say, you guys want to do the next couple levels, just, let's go do some bounties, clear out a couple of towns. The kids would love that.
Oh, so totally.
That's what I want. Shared Paragon levels, Robbie, is a great idea because that seems like not a hard translation between console to PC. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do, but I'm not convinced they'll do either or any of those things.
Shared Paragon. I don't know.
Right? Shared Paragon, baby. Let's see what else. Velocity on the PS4. It's a PS Plus membership free game. It's normally $19.99.
Right now it's on sale. It's $7.49, right?
Oh, is it?
$7.49 for the Vita.
Oh, Vita version. Okay, yeah. I thought it was crossplay, but I could be wrong. I thought I saw 19. Usually the same price, so that's weird. But
you might be right. I just see you can try the demo. It says playable on the PS Vita, and I went to the store.
You should try and tell me what you think. I'm super. I got it free, so there's no complaints about the price because it's this month's free game. But
it looks pretty jazzy.
It's a really cool look, and it sounds great, and there's some of that stuff going for it. I think the gameplay's kind of not great.
Really?
I'm super disappointed. I really wanted this to be awesome, and I'm not enjoying it like I thought.
Now, this is Velocity Ultra, right?
Well, I don't know, because there's Velocity. I don't know. Is it Ultra on both? I have no idea. I've only played PS4 so far.
Right.
So it could be something different on the Vita. I don't know. I just felt underwhelmed and kind of didn't want to play it anymore. I tried. Right. And I love sci-fi. I love shooters. I love some of the stuff they're doing in there with the platforming. Like, all of those elements are cool. I don't know. It's just not doing it for me.
No, it says it's native PlayStation 3, so I could pick this up for $9.99 on my PS3 still. Because I don't have a Vita.
Why is it $19.99 on a PS4? That's weird.
They hate you.
Well, I mean, I got it for free, so they must like me a little.
Right. Well, maybe they just like to, say, hey, the value is $14.95.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe that could be what they're doing.
Right.
I don't know. It's just I'll give it a little more time because I realize, sometimes games you got to kind of get your head around them longer to go, oh, I see what they're trying to do here or whatever. But so far, I am sadly unimpressed with what I'm seeing.
Sadly, so it's a dual stick shooter, right? Is that kind of what I'm getting here? Is it, no?
Sort of. No, not in the traditional sense. It's weird. It's got this. I guess I should explain that.
It's very colorful. It looks kind of like you're kind of flying through maybe some. I don't know. Kind of looks like, I don't know how to describe it. It looks kind of like you're inside the insides of a the Star Trek Enterprise or something. Maybe you're
kind of a little
flying
bit
around in the innards.
Sort of. There's other parts where you're actually a lady and you're running.
What?
Yeah, it's weird. It's got a weird switch over. And actually, I kind of like that stuff the most, which struck me as weird because I think the core of the game is the ship stuff. But it's weird because you use one of the trigger buttons on the controller, R1 and R2. You can choose which one.
R2.
Beep, beep, beep. You hold that down to accelerate, and it accelerates the screen forward. But with the left stick, you can move your dude around in space, in whatever space you can move around in while that's happening. But the screen only moves forward when you hold down the acceleration button. If you don't hold that down, it's always moving forward kind of slowly. So eventually, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, your ship's going to crash or die. Because the other mechanic is take the square button, hold down the square button, move the stick into one of the open spaces to the left, right, forward, or whatever, then let go of the square button, and then you teleport into this new little slot.
Right. By the way, I just realized, and I'm surprised the chat room hasn't already called us out on it already. Velocity 2X is the sequel to Velocity Ultra, which is what I was looking at. I didn't see a lady. I saw something totally different. So I'm looking at what you're looking at now.
Yeah, I never saw it. I never
that looks nothing like what I was describing. So
yeah. It's okay. It's probably okay for some people. I don't know. It just wasn't doing it. I could not get in the groove. Didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right. But I'll tell you what does feel right. Also on the PlayStation Plus thing, PS Vita to be specific, also PS3, they're giving away Joe Danger for free this month.
Ooh, I had a lot of fun with that.
I love Joe Danger. I love the first one. I thought the second one was really good too. I did not like the mobile versions of Joe Danger. I thought they were weird. They were too endless runnery and they were trying to be all mobily with them and microtransact them and stuff. And I didn't love that. But I really like the original Joe Danger is pretty special in my mind. And that's free right now on Vita, so I downloaded it, played it a bunch just before the show. In fact, had another game because I came in here early. And I love just finishing every possible challenge on each map. I like the difficulty ramp up. I like the way it looks. What's funny is these are the No Man's Sky guys before No Man's Sky.
Right.
Which is so weird. Those couldn't be more different, these projects. Anyway, Joe Danger on PS Plus for Vita is totally worth getting, and I'm going to sit in bed tonight and play that till my neck hurts.
You're going to sit in bed and play Joe Dangler.
Yeah, gotcha. Joe Dangler.
I heard what you said.
Yeah, he was my 70s porn name.
Right.
Also play a little bit of Towerfall with the kids, also on PS4.
But weren't you a little bit scared that it might be just tower defense and you just didn't know it yet?
What, Towerfall?
Yeah.
No, I already knew this was. I've been playing it for months. I bought it when it came out. No, I knew this game. This game's awesome. Are you kidding me? This is the reason this has been like months ago. In fact, I want to say pre-Nerdtacular we got this.
Now, is this on the PlayStation as well? Or is
4. It's also on Steam. I have it there as well.
Right. Well, where are you playing it?
PS4.
Okay.
So I actually went out to I bought extra controllers just for that game at the time. Wow. And I'm glad because now we use them for Diablo and other things. But that game is the most fun I've ever had. Still to this day, competitive 4-player couch game. I've yet to play something I had more fun with. And I played a lot of that over the years. I look back fondly on like Micro Machines and Super Smash Brothers and a million other multiplayer focused games on the couch, GoldenEye, whatever. This is the freaking bomb. Towerfall is so good. And I can't stop playing it. We love it. It's a little tradition at the house. We'll just pop it open when we're bored,
I'm getting a little confused because I thought Towerfall was just called Towerfall. Is there a Towerfall?
It's Towerfall Ascension is the PlayStation version, yeah.
Right.
Because the original one was an Ouya game, remember?
Exactly. And I was going to say, it looks a little nicer than the one I played because I remember playing it, but these screenshots...
Yeah, the Ouya version was okay, but they improved a lot on there. Added a bunch of stuff and whatever. But it was the only good game on the Ouya, really, most people say.
Right. I can't argue with that. Well, I wouldn't say it's the only good game, but it was definitely...
One of a few.
The better of the games.
Yeah, of all the games they ever got, it's easily the best one they ever got.
Right.
And it's great on...
You could make that argument.
It's great on PlayStation. It's great on PC, although PC version does not have online competitive at all. It's all local play, and how many people are multiple controllers. I know some do, but that's a rarity on a PC. Not everyone has that in their living room yet and all that. So I wish that had more of that. But PS4 version, nothing quite like that experience. So much fun. Nothing 2 players great, 3 players amazing, 4 player is insane. It's just good all the way around. That's it for me. What'd you play? What the hell's Monster Loves You?
Oh, well, you should know because I was going to gift it to you.
Oh, how would I know?
And you already own it.
Oh, I do?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, cool. So I'm just gonna give Scott Johnson this Monster Love You because you can pick up the 3-pack right now. You can pick up it's the daily deal on Steam, and you can pick up the 3-pack for $4.99, or you can buy one by yourself for $2.49. And I said, I'll just pick this up for all three of us, and we'll have a good time.
Oh, I remember this. This is a tablet game too.
It is. It's a tablet game as well as an Android game, and it was probably more suited for it. But once again, I like to grab the PC version so I can play a little Let's Play, and I'll be doing that this week. I didn't get a chance to play too much into it, but let me tell you, what I did play was fun. Now, some people may say this game is a little bit too juvenile or maybe young adult for someone who is maybe near their 40s. So. It's one of those choose your own adventure kind of games, but you get to play as a monster, and from the very beginning you have to make every decision you make affects what kind of monster you eventually become, and what kind of not power, but what kind of what's the word I'm looking for, your alignment, of what kind of monster you'll be, and that can also affect how your character develops or looks over time.
Yeah.
You say you remember playing this game?
Because I do. I kind of have a memory of it. I don't know that I've actually played very much of it. Maybe I just remember this may have been a Kickstarter or something. There's something more about this game in its development.
I think it's a green.
Was it greenlit? Maybe.
I can't. I'm trying to remember.
I don't even know what that means anymore. What does greenlit even mean anymore?
Basically, it means that you're developing a game independently of everything else, and you want to get a distribution deal, and you would go straight to Steam, but now Steam has a whole procedure where you go, hey man, people like us, and we've proven ourselves, and we've got a business plan, and then it gets approved, and then it goes through.
Right. Well,
so that's kind of the idea.
Worth
it's kind
playing, you're saying?
It's from what I've played so far. It's a very simple screen. It's very much a tablet game. The story is fun, and it's got really good humor to it, and you do get to choose your own adventures, and you get to choose how you interact with certain stories. And some of these stories lean very heavily towards the grim fairy tales kind of morality stories, where you have to decide, the bears come home, and it's kind of, are you going to align yourself with the humans, or are you going to be purely against the humans, and that kind of thing. So you find yourself making those choices of humanity versus, just give me stuff. Yeah. Kind of using your monster humanity.
Yeah.
Huge manatee. So manatees. But you have it. I have it as well.
I'll play it. I'll check it out.
This came out the day before my birthday last year, so it's been around for a little while. Unfortunately, it's only single player. I would really love to get online with you guys, and since the graphics are pretty light, and since there's not a lot of animation in it, I would love to get online and just play with you guys a little bit, and we could all make choices together.
Wait,
you know what I mean?
It has multiplayer or no?
It does not, but I'm saying, like, if we did like a Google Hangout or something, and
gotcha.
one of us could be projecting what's going on, and the other, we could all make decisions together. I think this would make an excellent card game.
Projectile vomiting.
Projectile gaming.
Ooh,
kind of a little bit of maybe a little couch play of some sort would be nice. You know what I mean? So you're not really co-oping per se. No one else is really controlling, but one person's kind of.
That's how my friend played Resident Evil 1 with me. I just sat and played it while he told me what he thought I should be doing.
Right. What should I be doing now? You should be moving and not dying. Move.
How do I kill these sharks that are floating in this thing? How do I that game.
Right. That game.
I was having nightmares about that game the other day. Not because it's scary, but because the save system sucked. You had to collect those typewriter ribbons. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I hated it.
You didn't hate it.
No, I loved it then, but now I look back and go, that was oppressive. That should have been better.
It was oppressive.
All right. Tell me about the game I'm never going to play, which is Five Nights at Freddy's.
You don't know if you're never going to play it.
No, I'm never playing that game. Not a chance.
But it's one of those paranormal kind of make you jump games.
It's a scary as hell game is what it is.
It is very jump worthy. Obviously, you've probably watched some video footage, and I've seen a lot of the YouTube gamers playing it. And my oldest, Andrew, was the one who said, "You really need to get this." And I was like, "Well, let me see." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, look, it's on sale."
Yeah,
perfect. So I picked it up for under $5. I think this is also just was released on the Android store as well. So not only can you get it on Steam, which is fine because this game is very simple mechanics. All you're really doing is you're a night shift worker that works from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. at kind of a pseudo Chuck E. Cheese's Freddy Fazbear. So you're kind of like at this Chuck E. Cheese kind of place that has animated bears and ducks and different animals. And during the daytime, you know, they're all lively and perform. But at nighttime, between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m., you're the security guard who is responsible for making sure these guys
There's no way.
Kind of.
Not a chance.
Right. So the Freddy and his animatronic friends, they roam around the restaurant at nighttime so that their servos don't lock up. So what you're in charge of is being a security guard, and you have very limited abilities. You're in this little security room, and the only interaction you really get is a prior employee comes on and kind of gives you advice on what you should be doing. And that advice is in the form of you should be watching the security cameras for where the animatronics have moved to, and they can move through different rooms. And of course, the camera's all creepy and crap because it's all fuzzy and got all the noise and everything.
Yeah.
And the only actions you really have to do is observation. And then when they get if the animatronics get closer to your room, they could get you, and they will confuse you with a servos that need to be put inside of a stuffed bear. Yes. As a consequence, they will destroy you and kill you.
No, I don't want to play that. I don't want to play that.
But it's so much fun, man.
No. It's not.
You've only got so much power in the system each night, and every time you are monitoring the cameras, it draws power. And when you turn on there's like little lights for the halls that are right next to you. And so that you can observe once they've disappeared off camera, like, oh crap, where are they at? Are they right outside the door? You can flip on the lights, and if you catch them there, you're cool because you can shut the door to the security office, and you're all right. And they'll kind of migrate away a little bit. But if you missed it, they get in the room with you, and then all of a sudden you can't shut the door, so you start going ching 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 ching, like, oh no,
dude,
ching 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 ching, and you have to wait for it, and then there's a big pop up scare, and it scares the crap out of you. But it's a lot of fun. Come on, Scott. But for $5,
no,
you got to spend 5 nights.
Especially not doing the whole what's it's got Oculus support, and there's no way in.
Right. Oh,
hell,
yes.
I'm playing with that on. No,
that would
way. I might do it minus the helmet with somebody here with me playing with me, maybe. But I'm a giant puss when it comes to scary games. You know that.
Oh, totally. And this game would totally freak you out.
I couldn't turn the lights off after I played freaking the first Silent Hill on PS1. It's about murdered me. I couldn't do it.
Totally. And so you've only got to go 5 nights, right? But it gets increasingly hard each night. And on this, if you make it to the 5th night, apparently I don't know this. I have not made it past, I think, the 4th night. But if you make it past the 5th night, then you go to a special level of hell. No, it's just a special level. I think it's probably a little bit more difficult, a 6th night. And then if you finish that 6th night, they unlock it so that you can do a level editor, which I'm really interested. That's the part I really want to get to. You can determine the difficulty of the AI, and it's a really simple game, but it is really intense.
All right.
The replayability of it, I think, really, unless you have friends over after you get through playing it a couple of times, it's kind of repetitive. So unless you have somebody come over who you can play it with, it's pretty much a one-trick pony. But it is very good at that trick. Very good.
Well, all right then.
I don't think I would have as much fun on a tablet though, because there's something awesome about putting a pair of headphones on and being at your big screen and just waiting for it.
No,
yeah.
no, bad idea.
You did a Let's Play not that long ago of the other game that you did not do well at.
So I have a scary game that I'm supposed to play and played, but had all the audio but no video. So it was a waste of time, and I got to do that again. I told Eric I'd do it again. because he bought me that game, so I should probably do it.
Eric.
But yeah, it's I don't do well with these scary games, dude. It's just not my thing.
You don't do well. Now, last week I said there was a game that was on my radar.
Yeah.
And I am trying. Let me see. I can go back to our show notes here. Yeah, Aratana and the Harpy's Feather.
Okay.
I did get a chance to play that, but I did not play it for very long because I was immediately turned off by the intro animation. Just it looks so ganky. And then I started playing it, and it looks sort of like a platformer, but the controls were not very good. And I don't know, the promotional material looked pretty decent, but once I actually started playing it, I was just not impressed, and I moved on pretty quickly. And I just want to say that I'm sorry for that, people.
It's
You
all
have to
right.
play it yourself.
If it's on your radar, that means it could be good or bad, and now it's off. It's fine.
Right?
I think that's
It was just a
totally
demo.
fine. It's
I
just
didn't
a
pay
demo.
anything for
Brian
it.
only plays a demo. All right, let's do some headlines.
Valkyrie needs food badly.
I need food.
Before we do a headline, though, you know what I'm gonna
Headlines.
do? I'm going to add Dan to the call.
Dan Fielding.
Dan, I just realized this doesn't say which Dan it is.
We'll take any Dan. Any Dan will do.
Here it
Any
is.
Dan will do.
Any dapper Dan will do ya. Let's pull him in here and do that stuff, because why the hell not? Hold on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, let's join Dan on the line and talk about some tabletop gaming. Gosh dang it.
That's right, man. I'm here to infuse some life into this podcast. You guys seem so depressed that I know Nicole's not here. So
When there's
we
no
wanna make this a
ladies
happy place,
around,
though.
it's just so brrr. Part of the problem is I probably shouldn't have run 2 miles before I recorded the show. Because now
that'll do it.
I'm hammered, tired, and then now, and you know what's making it worse? That room over here outside my office is about to be filled with about 90 ladies who are all here for a wedding shower for my daughter. And I am going to come down. Here's what I'm going to do. When we're done here, I'm going to sneak past them all. I'm going to shower, assuming nobody's in there. I'm going to change. I'm going to sneak back down here, and I'm going to play Diablo until my eyes are red. That's how this night's going to go.
There.
Yeah, that's how this night's going to end. Anyway, Dan, it's
See
always
if you can hit 40 in one night.
Right?
You're up to like 22, you said?
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, just keep hitting it.
I'll keep hitting it. Speaking of hitting it, Dan hits it each Cheech and Chong every Wednesday. He hits it each time, and we talk about
Wow,
board
Scott,
games.
have you been in my house lately?
No, I
How
have
do you know
not,
that?
sir. I have not. Dan is quite the dude, though, if you know what I'm saying. But he does talk about board games, and we love those. And so I bet you've got some to talk about now.
Oh, yes, I do. I actually really liked what we did last week. You gave me a little bit of homework, which actually made me think a little bit. It was actually pretty cool. You asked me to find you a roguelike in board games, which is actually a pretty cool thing because I didn't want to just go for, dungeon crawlers, because there's some really good dungeon crawlers if that's what you want to do. Like they have the, WotC has the Castle Ravenloft, Wrath of Ishardalon, and the Legend of Drizzt. They're
Wait,
all
Castle Shartnon. Shartnon?
Yeah, Shartnon.
Shartnon.
That's it.
Wrath of Ishardalon. It's
Oh,
actually
okay.
a really tough little dungeon crawler. But all three of those are really cool because you get everybody gets a character. It's co-op, and there's different scenarios inside the game that you kind of go into the board with, and you're just kind of going around. It's kind of like playing a little bit of D&D without having all the books and everything else. Like everything's right in front of you. There's miniatures that go in there, and those are actually fun. But to be a roguelike, you need to be quick. Those games can take an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's got some setup. Somebody's got to know all the rules and everything. The game I picked out for you guys is called Gauntlet of Fools.
Ooh, I like this.
It's by Donald X. Vaccarino. It actually was on Kickstarter. And
Vaccarino?
this is a while ago. Yep, Vaccarino. He actually did a game called Dominion, which was really the first deck building game. He was kind of the father of deck building.
Yeah, Dominion's widely. I have that game. People love that game.
Oh yeah, it's real good.
Yeah.
But Gauntlet of Fools is a game where you're basically you've got a stack of 50 monsters that are in the dungeon, and you're kind of going into the dungeon. What you do is you're putting out 3 sets of you got heroes and a weapon that goes with them, and then you've got some 6-sided dice. Now, in order to pick one of those weapons or people, you have to boast. Like you want to say, okay, I want to take the monk with a bow, and then somebody else goes, well, if you're going to take the monk with a bow, I can do that while blindfolded. And now there's a little table there that has a little bit of what they call boasts. So you've got things like blindfolded, hungover, without breakfast, with an arm tied behind my back, and each one of those boasts actually gives you a penalty. So if you did it blindfolded, you actually get a penalty to the gold that you would get, and you can't dodge the monsters. So there's a stack of 50 monsters. In basically the whole game, you're going to die. It's just a matter of when.
Right.
So each time you're kind of looking for the best combo there, but then each person can kind of up each other with the bow. So if you're going to be like with one hand tied behind your back, when you're rolling dice, 1s and 2s won't count on those dice to go, and each monster has a threshold that you got to go towards.
All right.
So it's kind of like a bluffing, it's kind of like who's going to blink first in the game.
Yeah. It's creating some really interesting random chance too as well. Just by having that mechanic in there. Do you feel like when let's say a game goes to fruition, all right? Say we played whatever a game constitutes.
It's basically when everybody's dead, that's one whole game. You count up the money and you see who wins. So what you're looking at, 30 minutes max.
Does anything carry over to the next round, or is it all gone? You start over fresh?
Generally, everything's all gone. However, you could house rule this and make a variant where you get to keep one item to the next. You have to pay a certain amount of your gold to keep an item to go on to the next.
See, that's kind of interesting, because what you're seeing in video game roguelikes now is that kind of thing, where they're like, all right, we'll use your gold to buy a thing that will carry over in the next round that you wouldn't have had otherwise, and potentially everybody who's in this thing will have gold at the end.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, a good game that kind of had that Rogue Legacy feel where you just kind of start all over.
Yeah.
Like there's games where if your guy dies, you just get another guy, but generally none of your equipment really kind of stays over.
Interesting. So I'm looking
this
at
was kind of the...
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say that this is the only thing that has that feel of quick and easy and lighthearted, kind of like that whole roguelike.
Yeah,
kind of
definitely there's some humor here, and I can see, I mean, I love the art on here. Like, all this stuff looks like
finally some decent board game art. Thank you, finally.
Ooh, look at Brian kicking dirt in the eyes of the game board designers with bad art.
Generally, there's only a few artists that are really, really good right now. Jackie Davis is an artist that's been really highly touted lately, of doing some really good board game art. There's a game that's it's on Kickstarter now. It's the only art that I can think of for Jackie Davis. It's called Skyway Robbery.
Right.
And the art is just phenomenal in there.
What about John Kovalik?
Kovalik's good.
Oh well, he's classic. But he has that same nice style to him, and it's very stylish to it.
Keep your eyes peeled. I can't say much, but you might see some Scott Johnson art coming up soon on a board game.
You better. And also, I just interviewed John Kovalik on Comics Coast to Coast.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, he's the man. In fact, the reason I got this gig was because he passed it over to me, because he had a bunch of other stuff going on and couldn't bring it on. So he
mentioned you and Scott Kurtz.
Oh, he did. Well, that's very nice of him.
Did you use any of those questions I sent you, Dunaway?
Yeah, I said. So he wants to know how big is. No, I didn't ask him.
How big is what? What were you gonna ask?
I didn't actually get your emails. I remember waiting for some. Did you send it on? I didn't ever get anything from you.
Yeah, I sent it about 6:30 that night, right beforehand.
I might have just missed it then.
Listen, Mister, go to Atlanta and expect to remember everything. I think we'll forgive you here.
I've got your name out to a couple of publishers. We'll see if they've got some things coming up, because I know a lot of people that do a lot of different Kickstarter projects and some other bigger board game projects that maybe sending you some emails.
We got a bunch of other emails. Speaking of emails during the week from people like William Bass and a bunch of others who had actual suggestions for other roguelike games. And I thought I'd just throw them out here as something for you to even check out if you wanted to. I don't know a lot about these, but other than his description. But on Board Game Geek, there's one for Baldrick's Tomb. And he claims that might be exactly what we're looking for. And it's actually a local dude, supposedly. So someone here made it. So I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to see if I can.
Yeah, we pull that up on the Geek and see.
See what you think.
Years ago.
And then there was another game. This has nothing to do with the roguelike thing. Crap, where did I put it? Oh, I wanted to tell you about this. It's somewhere else. I got to find it. But I got a game from another local publisher that apparently everyone loves, and was curious if you had played it. Now I can't remember the name. But I'll have that next Wednesday. And we're going to try to play it between now and then, so I can maybe even report on it.
There was another one by Plaid Hat Games. It's called Dungeon Run.
Yeah.
That kind of has that same thing where you're going into the dungeon, and the dungeon is kind of, the tiles are flipped over, almost like a 4X, where as you're exploring, things are happening.
Do any of these replicate solo play at all, or are they all either competitive or co-op? You know.
Oh well, you can certainly play dungeon run solo. Most of these dungeon type games you can play solo because there's not really a whole lot of. They're mostly co-op. Dungeon runs co-op until you get to defeat the big bad. Then you're racing out of the dungeon, and then everybody else is trying to kill you before you get out.
Oh,
to take the MacGuffin. Basically.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just curious, and I know that the whole point of board games is it's a social game with many people. Nobody's making a lot of solitaire games.
Well, you'd be surprised. Most games nowadays, it's really kind of a strange twist and change in the whole dynamic of board games where a lot of people are putting out solo variants for their games so that people, if they can't necessarily play with their group, but they want to be able to play, that they've got that solo variant that they can do it.
Because we do that with video games in such a natural way. It's like, oh yeah, solo play is a thing in video games, and it always has been and always will be. And here they are, and here's a solo game, and it has multiplayer component. It makes sense that as tabletop takes on this renaissance period, it makes sense that they would want to integrate some of that.
You know what I would like to
most
see?
good ones.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead,
Right. I'd really love to see some solo Monopoly.
Ugh.
See if I could cheat myself out as a banker.
See how if you
can I give you my Monopoly thing?
Of course.
Okay.
Right.
I'll give you the quick rundown on the problem with Monopoly. See, we all grew up in Monopoly, and it's a 50, 60-year-old game, so it is terrible. However, it's not as bad as the reason why it's as bad in everyone's mind is because everybody played these home brew variants. Now, I'm sure everybody's heard of free parking.
Yeah, I have.
Right.
Now, with everybody puts like $500 in free parking, and then whenever you put taxes in free taxes go into free parking, and you get the money. That is the absolute worst thing you could ever do in your life.
It prolongs the gameplay forever.
Oh yeah, by 2 hours.
We did that. Yeah.
And the other thing that people don't realize is that the rule when you go somewhere and you decide not to buy a property, it's supposed to be auctioned.
Yeah, it goes up for auction, and that puts a lot more pressure on you to buy because you're like, oh, I better buy, or so and so over here is Mr. Spendy Pants is going to buy it.
And think of how quick the game would go if you are basically auctioning everything and all the things are gone, all the properties are gone that quick.
Yeah,
that's the way it's supposed to be.
Now let me say this real quick, and then I want you to finish this thought. But
okay.
I was just going to make this comment that. I just don't want to forget to say it. Speaking of home variants, my brother, Matt, my Korean brother, who knew very little English and still has a very thick accent. And, he's still 1 foot in Korea, 1 foot in America kind of guy. And he's real funny and weird. And he, in high school, took woodshop and made a chess set or chessboard in woodshop for his main project that year. And he brought it home. And for whatever reason, we just didn't have a lot of money or nobody was thinking about it. But we were just like, well, finally we have a chessboard. Let's get some cheap plastic pieces and we'll play chess all the time. So he brought home this board. The problem was, and nobody really quite realized it yet, but even then we were willing to just deal with it. He put an extra row of squares on one of the sides, thus extending the game out, by a whole nother row, which clearly, completely farts in the face of the rules. And if you got good at it, what you were really doing is getting very bad at it. Because you'd go play on a real board, like I'd go to a friend's house, and like, let's play chess. Yeah, dude, I play my brother Matt all the time. I'm really good at chess because I'd just be amazing at home. I'm playing his board, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a missing row here. None of my strategies work. It was the worst thing ever. But it reminds me.
They got on top of me real fast.
Yeah, and it reminds me, like the Monopoly thing is more like, oh, everybody's got a bunch of ideas that change the game. This was like, my brother's an idiot, and he put an extra row of wood in there. It was like this hardwired change to the game that ruined me on chess. Like, I'll never be a good chess player because of it. Anyway, sorry. You were saying.
That's great.
No, the last thing for Monopoly now, Hasbro and a couple other companies have been trying to put out these variants or other versions that actually change things for the better. There's a Lord of the Rings version of Monopoly where there's actually a ring that's on the board, and on one of the dice, I think it's on the 1, there's an Eye of Sauron. Every time you roll that die or the eye comes out, you move the ring 1 space around the board. If it ever gets back around to go, the game is instantly over.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right, but who can touch it?
Nobody.
No, but everybody wants to touch it. You got to
say, do you have to have a hobbit there to take care of it? For
you, but he just disappears. That's no good. No, and all these all these versions, are they all like that? Like if you go by the Big Bang Theory of Monopoly, do they have a special tweak here and there or any of that, or is it just this Lord of the Rings one?
I would doubt it. I want to say I hope so, but for the most part, they're all just reskins.
Because what's the new one? The new one that everyone's talking about is I think it's Mario or something, or no, that's old. some other Nintendo property. Anyway, it would be kind of cool.
There was a Zelda. It was a big time Zelda one. I think
that might be what I'm thinking of. And if that's true, there's an opportunity to do something fun there to change up the gameplay a little bit. I think that's disappointing that they don't do that. You know?
Well, what about if they did like Monopoly Legacy, like I was telling you about Risk
right.
Legacy? What if after certain games, if you win, you can rename a property, or maybe you could, you just if a property just completely bombs out and you end up having to, leverage it. Well, maybe at the next game, it's not worth as much, as costs less, and you just can't build hotels on those.
Right.
Stuff like that.
I'd be down with that. Yeah, who knows? It's weird because you look at these games, you don't look at it the same as a tabletop experience. Like when you hear tabletop, you go, "Oh, Seven Kingdoms and Ticket to Ride and Munchkin and a million things," but nobody thinks Scrabble, Monopoly, Stratego. Like those are from a different. Those are your grandpa's board games, you know.
Yeah.
So it'd be funny to see that, see those
around in his Buick and playing.
Well, let me ask you this: when you were at Gen Con, were there people on tables playing like straight up Monopoly?
I don't know. If you go into the events room, you can find anything in the events room. Like there'll be events probably for Monopoly. There might even be a Monopoly tournament going on over the weekend, because there's people that play Axis and Allies, like real serious people that play Axis and Allies like crazy, and all those older games. And I'm sure there's probably even like a room for Scrabble and stuff like that. So you see just about all the old stuff, but then you see, you got us playing the Cult of the New on one area. And I mean, then there's like the world championships of things like Carcassonne and all sorts of things like that that you see more. But that event room's got everything.
Next episode of the show, here's your homework. You don't have to do this if you find something better, but I would love to explore more of this idea of a really strong solo game. Like what one is either got a variant or is meant to be solo from the get-go that is highly regarded and solo players really like it.
Well, there's, and I'll look for one that has a solo game out of the box, because there's a guy, Mike Mowens, that's pretty much right now he's becoming world renowned for being the guy that comes up with solo variants for games.
Oh wow!
On Twitter, he's been. It seems like every game that comes out, they've got a little thing from him in the back of the book that's like, "Hey, here's a solo variant from Mullins."
What does he say? Hey, you know what'd be cool? If you played this game by yourself. Because I could do that.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's funny because publishers keep sending them games and saying, "Hey, come up with a solo. See what you can do to come up with a solo variant."
Loneliest man in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Dan, do you feel like hanging around with us for a little bit since we're
sure,
just two men, just for funsies?
Yeah.
Great. Well, hang in.
If you don't mind, I'd love to.
No, I'd love to have you around. Let's get into some of these news stories here. Elder Scrolls Online got hit with big layoffs. ZeniMax says they will continue to invest heavily in the game, even though that happened. Here's their quote: "As is the norm for games of this type." I love that they preempt all this with that statement. Except for BlizzCon, or except for freaking WoW, is what they should say. Although they even had like a 600-person layoff, 2 years ago? It just took a lot longer for any of that to happen. They ramped up in people a lot longer than they did actually get rid of anybody. So it's, pretty much if you're in the MMO market and you've been out for about 2 months, layoff news is always on the heels. Always.
Zooming.
As is the norm for games like this, we had ramped up for a large workforce to develop a game of a vast scale and ramped up our customer service to handle the expected questions and community needs of the Elder Scrolls Online launch. This is according to Bethesda VP and PR and marketing dude, whatever, Pete Hines. He told this to Joystick. Quote, "Now that we are nearly 6 months post-launch, we have a thriving community in a game that runs smoothly." Then goes on to say, "And we're firing a bunch of people." So that's what's going on with those guys. In similar news or related news, WildStar is moving to mega servers. This is a positive spin on, again, the same tale, which is, hey, we're an MMO, we've been out for a few months, and it's time to merge servers because low population is a problem. So they're taking their low pop servers and some of their high pop servers and just merging them and creating.
That happened really fast. I didn't think it happened that fast.
Well, in this one, they are aiming for some technology that will let this thing become basically a mega server, which is a lot what Elder Scrolls is doing, and Eve and others.
They're just trying to stay, liquid. You're just trying to keep from,
Oh, I don't blame them. And the games have their dedicated base, and they should be serviced as such. So it's fine, but I always just feel a little bad, like.
Well, it seems like everybody wants to see how much money they can possibly get before they have to shut off the subscription.
Mm-hmm. And move to free to play or whatever, right?
Put enough content in there for the first 6 months or so, get as peak as high as you can. And then when it starts going off, say, hey, look, we're free to play now, but we still have some things you want to buy, and make those things really good.
Sure. And that's fine. I think that's an okay path to take. You do what you have to do. You're in the long shadow of Warcraft. This is the way you behave beneath that shadow. And that shadow, while it may even be shrinking, it's exponentially larger than anything you're doing right now. So you have to live within that ecosystem and survive the best way you can. Which reminds me, there was news today. There's a chance the people who own the rights to City of Heroes, Brian,
those guys
are going to let fans have the core code base and build the game
get out
again.
of here.
Yeah.
That's great.
How cool is that? Now it's rumor at this point. I don't think any of this is official, but that could be spatial.
Right. I would definitely jump back in, at least if they did nothing but extract the superhero creation process and let you fly around in a little sandbox area. That'd be all I'd really want.
I agree, because that's all you wanted anyway out of that game.
Right, just hanging out in a little sandbox here and go, look, cool crap I built. Look at
Check
this.
it out.
I can fly. I've got special flying abilities. I'm Ice Woman.
I look just like the Hulk or whatever. That game was great for that.
But I'm not the Hulk.
Character stuff. I don't know how. I mean, I don't remember what it looks like, but does it look okay, or does it look like
it looks
crap?
all right. I mean, no, it's not the worst thing you ever seen, but it's certainly not up to par to what we have today. I mean,
yeah,
it looks about like the time it was created. It was okay, cutting edge technology then.
Yeah.
Not so much now. Not so much now.
Well, now you put it into the hands of some creative people that have the love for the game, and you could only imagine what can come of that.
Well, I'm a giant fan of letting people make mods and build stuff from your game. I mean, it's the underpinnings of the success of some of the games you see today as the dominant genres. And they had these times in their past, whether it's shooters with Quake and Doom and Unreal or whatever, when they open up Pandora's box and let anybody anywhere make whatever the hell they want to make. There are many games we play now that are basically the children of mods that came from those games. And I think encouraging that, whether it's just straight up modding or if it's something like, hey, this dead old game is now yours to play with. We're not making money on it anyway. It's just sitting here. That's awesome. Put it in the hands of creative people and they'll make something neat. It's like that multiplayer mod for Just Cause 2. That's insane what that thing is. It's crazy, and that's not an official thing. But the company said, yeah, sure, use it. More of that, please.
Please.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Star Wars Galaxies do something similar to that? But it was like only the people that had original keys could get into the new community. So
Galaxies, yes. What was that though? Was it
It
wasn't the existing game. It was some other.
Well, I thought it was some sort of infrastructure of the game where but only people that could get into that little server after the fact, and they kept. They kept making updates to it and fixed it, but it was only like people that could actually, that had bought the game previously and could basically prove it or something like that to get in there.
That's interesting.
That's
really
pretty
typical of
that's
pretty typical of Lucas back in that time. LucasArts.
Really, was it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Even all the way to today, it's like you and your stupid.
I have
crap.
such a love-hate for that game because I loved its attempt to be truly sandboxy. And build whatever the hell you wanted, but there was no direction in it. You just felt like you were wandering around and not know what to do.
Have you ever seen a game that had more potential that crapped on itself more than Galaxies?
No. Let me back that up. The new Sim City did that. It looked like it could have been amazing, and then it took a giant dump on itself, right in its own face. And they're still trying to recover from that. That was a giant mess. I'm trying to think of others where it was that catastrophic. But I think you're right. In the long haul, if you're going to make this evaluation, probably Galaxies. I would go very different now, wouldn't it? I think. Hell, I even think Old Republic could go different now that Disney and other people are involved. I think you could have. You certainly would have had more money to do stuff longer and not feel like you had to rush it to market. And there's a lot of things they could have done. Coulda,
yeah, and
shoulda,
it got a lot
woulda.
of hype early too.
Oh yeah,
and it was a ton of fun early, and then it was just like something just happened. You're like, well. Let's go back to WoW.
Back to WoW, everybody. They got a new expansion or something. We'll go do that. Brian's cow's still down in that ravine. We got to get him out.
Moo.
All right.
You're talking about you were talking about ES Online. It's just a matter of these games. You look at some of these games like League of Legends, which is free to play to begin with, and they are just bathing in money. And the only thing that they really offer is skins and stuff like that for pay, and and to boost and stuff, and unlocking characters, and they still make it. I mean, I've been playing League for a couple of years now, and I mean, not really very well at it, but I mean, I still here and there I'll put money in there to buy some skins, but I would rather not pay a subscription game. But yet, I'll still throw some money back at things.
No, they figured it out.
Things that I enjoy.
They figured it out. They're one of the forefronts of this of how to make freemium work, and there's plenty of examples where it works. I mean, there are lots and lots of examples. Even on mobile, there's plenty of good examples of how it does work. But there are plenty of really bad examples on mobile as well, where you're just like, you guys are nickel and diming me, and you are bastards. One of the coolest games I played. I cannot remember the name. In fact, if I still have it installed, I can tell you. Let's see, something RPG gem, something.
RPG gem.
There's so many games, dude. So many games, you just forget the names. I may have deleted it.
Generator plot.
I think I did delete it. Anyway. Oh, by the way, speaking of a game that was kickstarted as a board game, and I think it still is one, but also digital versions, you should be playing Star Realms, everybody.
Holy cow, I was going to bring that up this episode for you.
It's really good, dude.
It's really, really good. It's a little random, but it's really good, and it's free.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh. It's free? How's a board game free? Do you print out yourself?
No,
no,
I'm sorry. The iOS is free.
The iOS
board
version.
It's only $15.
Yeah, it's on Android as well, I believe. But it's just, that is a tight, fun little deck builder game. It's really, really well done.
You know the game that I was pitching a while ago, that one of my favorite games is Ascension, Chronicle of the Godslayer?
Oh, yeah.
One of the devs for that is who made Star Realms. He kind of came from Stoneblade Entertainment and actually made
that's right, because he was kind of a big deal previous to that project.
Yep. I think all the guys from Stoneblade were all like Magic pros, and then they made Ascension, and then he kind of went on his own a little bit. I think he still works for Stoneblade, but he went on his own and made Star Realms. And that game is it's amazing how much they've sold at Origins and Gen Con. Yeah. I mean, there was just this huge pile, in a booth, just a huge pile, and by the end it was just
in a booth. And
oh yeah, Scott, I'll have to definitely challenge you on that, because that's one of my favorite games right now.
I like it. It's great. It's such a fun alternative to if people are getting a little tired of Hearthstone or whatever popular deck building or slash collecting game that may exist on mobile platforms. It's a real breath of fresh air, and it's on the phone, which is nice. So you can kind of move around and play it in two different ways.
Well, and games take they're so
they're
short.
Quick, and they feel epic, and the cards are insane. I'm not very good. Like, I suck. I'll admit. I'll throw that out there and be truthful about it. I'm terrible. So if you and I do play, I'll get murdered. But it's okay, because I'm having a good time. The game's really fun.
Well, I'll give you a little tip from when it comes to deck building stuff. Try to cull your deck as much as possible. Get those cards in your deck that can trash other cards.
Yeah.
That's one of the things you got to try to do in almost all deck builders.
All right. Well, that's good advice, damn it.
It is.
Real quick, we got a topic in here. You want to skip it?
Let's save the topic for next week.
All right, we'll save it.
It's a good beefy topic.
It's a beefy one. We'll skip. Here's what we'll do next episode. We'll skip all news and go straight to this meaty topic.
Unless there's really good news.
Well, then we'll talk about that briefly. It's funny because both PAX and Dragon Con came and went, and PAX specifically, which is obviously video game related, had very little in the way of news. Game news, so that's why we didn't cover much of that. That was just mostly Expo stuff, and they didn't really. There was nothing really broken there. Although that new Super Meat Boy mobile sequel, Super Meat Boy Adventures or whatever, or Ultimate, whatever it is, that got announced, and that looks real good, and I can't wait to play it.
And I think they showed some more of the new heroes coming up for Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, they did do that. That's true. Blizzard did that.
Heroes of the Storm.
That I'm loving. I've been in the alpha for that, and I don't know if you guys are even still playing that at all. But
I'm not a ton. I'm in that mode of like I just want this to be released so I can play it for real mode. I do that. I do that with betas from Blizzard every time I install one. It doesn't matter for which game either. Like the Diablo beta or the PTR, I played that for a little bit. Went nope, gonna wait for the release or whatever. And yeah, right now though, man. Diablo's eating my soul.
It's so good.
That's so
it's unbelievable how good it
right
is
now. Gosh dang it, it's the best thing they've ever made. All right. Yeah, you heard me, people. You heard me.
And I can't decide whether I want to keep playing a PC or keep playing a console.
I know.
It's different feels, but they're so good. It's the first, like you said, it's the first game I've ever wanted to play on both.
Yeah, you're okay crossing over. It doesn't feel weird to do that or wasteful or anything. It just feels like it's interesting enough experience. It's got that hook of dropping crap that I want all the time. Like, it's just great. It's just great. They've nailed it. That team and the lead dude that took over from the last guy, they deserve just huge amounts of credit.
Normally I'm like you. I don't ever want anything spoiled in a real game, so I really usually hate betas.
Yeah.
There's the difference with Heroes is it's just more or less getting better at the game than what I could be, because it's not really spoiling a whole lot. Like I didn't want to get into the the WoW expansion, because I'm like, I don't want to do these quests again. I want to learn them for the first time when it's live.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of how I end up feeling every time. Let's do some emails here. We got an email from Matt who says, do you think we'll see more developers trying to make up pay-in apps as well, or I think he meant us, pay-in-app as well as initial purchase of mobile apps? In other words, here's a $4 app, plus we're going to make you pay extra money if you want to play it the way it should be played or whatever, which they do exist already. Would you find yourself disappointed by a developer acting this way? If so, what would you do about it? Have you ever felt misled by a developer like this? Love the shows. Matt. Yes, and when that happens to me, I shame on them, and then I don't buy it again, or else shame on me. In other words, your money is what matters. People worry that, there's free-to-play stuff and they're ruining video games. No. You will still determine what happens here. If a game is extremely successful financially and it's a free-to-play game where you're microtransacting people, that means it's good and that model works. So we can rail against it all we want, but if it's working, it's working. If a game's egregious about it and it's terrible, that game will not succeed because people won't pay to play it. So to me, it works itself out. Nobody needs to step in and say, stop this madness. The madness will work itself out. Right. We're at a weird period where, it seems a little haphazard, but we'll get past it. It'll be fine.
And it's only a problem if there's something that crosses, usually it's stuff that crosses over with other addictions. So like if you have a video game addiction where you play those little poker machines and stuff, and they kind of inject that into some kind of game on an app that requires purchases and stuff, and you tap into that addiction of people, maybe there's a problem. But for the most part, like Scott said, it kind of works itself out. If it's not content worth having, then people just won't buy it.
Yep. Dan, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. When it comes to, they're so popular right now, the in-app purchases, and so many do it so bad and so many do it so well now. You're wondering why most of these other companies don't go, okay, well, let's look at who's really done it well. Like EA's got that thing. Exactly. I mean, I think they said that made more money than any other game they ever released.
Yeah.
So all these other companies that are really doing it bad should say, wait, we should take a page over from how they're doing it and see how that gateway with getting some, couple dollars here and there by millions of people works better than what we're trying to do. And it's
if we had Homer Simpson buying donuts in our game, we could really
yes, but also it's the model. So the same company put out Dungeon Keeper, a much loved classic game originally by Molyneux and his people, and re-released this weird new version for iOS, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I thought we would never speak of that again.
Yeah, we shouldn't. I mean, it's like the primeval will rise out of the ground and devour us if I mention it one more time. I can't say it 3 times, like Candyman. There'll be bees in its mouth. Anyway, the point is that that game, it was a terrible implementation of payment models. Terrible, by all accounts. And it failed rightly so. Quickly, too. An ugly demise.
And how they didn't fix it. I'm surprised they didn't fix it right away when it got such bad backlash. They could have been like, all right, we'll do it the right way now.
Yeah, and it's really hard to, that first impression is a hard thing to overcome. Some people can do it, but it's really, really hard to deal with. I mean, even Dungelot, the Dungelot series, Dungelot 1 and 2, I love those games. But that second game launched with terrible microtransaction stuff attached to it. It was really bad. And people backlashed. They did the right thing and went back and worked on it, reworked it, put it back out, and it's so much better now. But that first impression lost them players. It's just the way that stuff works. So it just works itself out. I mean, I know it's frustrating. There are times where you're just like, ugh, I don't want to do this way or whatever. The market will work itself out. It always does.
That's why you got to remember to always kind of check back. If it's a game that you really want it to be good, but the payments suck, just check back with it after a while and see if it's changed anything at all.
I agree. Tidy Tonic wrote in on Twitter and said, hey, have you guys played Gang Beasts yet? Awesome general game, or couch game rather, on Steam. I have no idea what this game is. What the hell is it, Brian? Do you know what it is?
I haven't seen. I was looking it up earlier, and apparently you can play it everywhere whether it be, and it looks like little meeples or something, man. What do you think, Dan? Little meeples.
I'm pulling it up right now. Let me see. It does look like little meeples running around.
Looks like little meeples, little sack people running around. It's described as a silly local multiplayer party game with doughy ragdoll physics and horrific environmental hazards. So we're probably talking about a little bit of physics games. It looks like there's some involvement with balance, maybe a little bit. So it looks like a little bit of a co-op there. Little coop play.
This is $15 early access. It looks interesting. I can
looks
maybe check that out. I just don't have a couch in front of my computer.
I don't know if it looks $15 interesting, but it does look interesting.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Definitely looks meeple interesting. You know,
it looks like
demo interesting.
Yeah.
Right. It looks like you're. Well, first of all, I guess the gang part of it must be because you're different colors, and it looks like you're destroying each other.
Like the '80s, man. That's how you knew the gangs in the '80s. They're all different colors, man. Well, in movies, they were like theme gangs, you know, where
theme games.
What was the baseball one in Warriors? What were they called?
The Warriors. Yeah,
they were called something.
The Beaters.
No, it was the something swingers or
Sluggers?
sluggers.
That's
the
it.
Something sluggers. Ah, crap.
Something
Sluggers?
Something like that. It was super dumb. Worse than the Jets and the what were they in West Side Story? The Jets and the Sharks and the Jets. Oh my gosh!
Boy, I just lost a little cred knowing that.
Yeah, you or gained some with somebody. Somebody's happy to hear it. Humfredo sent a tweet from his Windows phone, which is awesome. Says TFS show. I don't mean the phone's awesome. It's just awesome. We have a fan who's using one for some reason. Thanks for being the video game podcast for the rest of us. Need you this week as other game sites are the worst right now. What does he mean by that? Is it because, you know what it was? It was all that
Polygon stuff going on that was people just hating on them?
I don't know if it was that. I think it was that. There was that big controversy about games journalism and that, I can't remember her name.
It was the misogyny.
Yeah, I avoided that stuff like it didn't happen. You know why? Because in my world it didn't, and I wasn't going to armchair psychology that thing. I was not going to be one of everybody, because part of the problem I have with that is, A, are these real issues, serious issues? Absolutely they are. Should they overtake all video game coverage? No. Should they be something that is discussed? Absolutely. How about by people who know stuff? Yes. How about not by everybody else trying to get link bait and headlines? F that business. I was like, you know what? I am A, no expert on this. B, I want to play video games. Let's talk about games. Someone else can work on that one because that's not a problem I have. So they can have that problem and they can fix it. But I'm going to talk about, two treasure goblins pooping out awesome loot.
I saw the headline. I was like, oh, look, let's go play Diablo.
Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's see. And so, Humfredo, I'm glad you found us to be a nice respite away from that. And then finally, Dandelan78 or something to that effect.
Dandahan
says, listening to TFS show 169 really want to see loot poop become an illustration. And then he says hashtag soul patch, which is great. What was the loot poop? I don't remember what we said.
We was talking about I forget. We were definitely talking about a Diablo type of mechanic, and I forget, it was something.
Probably Diablo.
We'll have to go back and
Was it the treasure goblin?
Maybe. Probably.
We talked about that earlier during the show, but I think this was from last week.
He's always pooping loot though. That's what his job is.
Yeah,
he should be called the loot poop goblin.
I think you were talking about him running around.
Oh, maybe. Did I?
I think that's exactly what it was.
Gold.
Yeah, poop and gold, baby. All right, let's do this.
Kicking it old school.
It's time to kick it old school. That's a chance for us to talk about an old video game, one that we either are fond of or hate or wish never existed or wish was back. And that game today is, I'll let you people at home decide, Speedball 2 Brutal Deluxe. 1990. It is the first Speedball League founded in 2095. That's what it's about, this fake future sport thing, right?
Future sport, which
future
is...
sport, yeah.
Right.
It failed due to violence and corruption. As the organization gives place to anarchy, the game is forced underground. But 5 years later, in an attempt to regain public interest, Speedball 2 is born. And that's the year 2105. Wow, that's funny. And it's got a new term, Brutal Deluxe, which sounds like the worst hamburger you could order.
Yes.
It was on the Acorn Archimedes. Yeah, I remember that device, that computer, rather. The Atari ST, Amiga CD32, PC, Commodore 64, NES,
it
rather.
It was on everything.
Master System, Mega Drive. Let's see, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. First version in 1990 for the Atari ST. The most recent version is the GBA in 2002. Good gosh, man!
Right?
That game made the rounds.
They must have been giving it away.
Is it any good though, Brian? What the hell's going on with it?
Absolutely is not. Did you ever see the movie Rollerball?
Yeah, I did.
Of course you did, because we watched it for Film Sec.
Yep.
And yeah, so it's kind of like that. It's basically a
Oh,
very
I remember it now.
It's a simple game. You can
Yep,
you
I
basically
remember it.
go up, down, right, left.
I totally
attack.
remember this now. I'm looking at some of the screens. This is totally. I have memory of this game. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was during that phase, like late '90s or late '80s, early '90s to mid '90s. There was this thing with future sports.
Right.
And
And you've been much better served by picking up maybe a hockey game or something like that. But you did have the ability to throw a metal ball. For some reason, there were like stars on the side of the field that are marked off kind of like a football field. And you're kind of wearing a somewhat of a football uniform, this all futuristic. And it's like all the sports games from that time. There's a little bit of a catch-up mechanic because I sucked really hard playing this, and there's a Let's Play. If you go into the show notes, you'll see that I played this.
This is you
and
playing it.
This is me playing it now, and I played it horribly.
Let's play a little sound from this. See how it
Did
goes.
you make his head bleed?
Ooh,
I hope so.
ImageWorks presents. There we go. Oh gosh.
You can fast forward to about 12 minutes of.
Is this the Genesis version? Because that sounds like a Genesis sound chip.
I played it on the DOS box.
Wow.
So it was a DOS version.
It sounds just like it. That is so Genesis sounding.
Hey, but in 1990, this wasn't that bad of a game. Just looking back, going, wow.
Well, here's the gameplay. Let's see if we can get some sound. Get ready. Here's the ball. Okay. All right.
Okay, here comes the ball, yo.
All right. Throw it in the hole. Oh, this would not hold up now. You know what, though? This just makes me want more. Remember, alternate sports games are some of my favorites. I loved Mutant League Football like nothing else.
Oh, yes.
I'd play that right now if I had it.
You can.
I don't have a Genesis anymore, dude.
What do you need a Genesis for? We have emulators now.
I don't have.
You can fit the power of a Genesis like on your dumb phone.
You know what? I don't have a dumb phone though. I have a really cool phone.
Really smart.
You know what
phone.
this feels like? Looking at it, watching the gameplay, it almost feels like the precursor to remember NHL '94?
Oh, yeah.
One of the most popular ones. It has that smooth feel to it, look to it. I'm sure it probably didn't play as well as
Dude, I loved a good hockey game, and I'll tell you what, NHL '94, and I had the Sega CD version of that. The best hockey game I ever played, I think.
Absolutely.
Oh,
awesome.
Gosh, I'd play it right now if I could. And you know what? I'm hearing a lot of good things about this new hockey game from EA. I know I don't say a lot of nice things about EA, but I do love me some hockey, and they're kind of the king of the hill with the hockey games. I may pick that up.
Well, I have the last two from for NHL, and my son plays a lot. He's 7, and I like to fancy myself a pretty good gamer, but he kicks the snot out of me in NHL 14.
Those one shots, dude. You got to watch out for your kids. I love a good hockey game. Oh my gosh, you're making me crave one. Now, screw Speedball 2. Go get hockey. But that's it. Speedball 2.
Speedball.
Don't play Steve-ball. Steve-ball's the worst.
Oh, Steve.
Available not now, but you can get it. You probably could get it on your DDS.
This is actually considered abandonware, so you can get this online. And Bandmania is maybe where I picked it up from.
When you say abandonware, like literally, you could take it and like skin it and make your own game, or what?
Well, it's abandoned, meaning that you can do whatever you want to with it because no one's going to come say anything because nobody gives a rat's
That seems
ass.
crazy with all the platforms it was on as recently as 2002. And then that couldn't have been DS in 2002. What? That's not possible. Before the DS came out. That would have been, did I say DS? Yeah, I did. It was Game Boy Advance, sorry.
Right.
My fault, my bad.
You're bad.
Yeah, GBA.
Oopsie.
2002. All right, there's your old game, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a show. Dan, it was a huge pleasure having you hang out with us today.
Hey, it was a lot of fun, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll do it again next week. Geek Jock Blog on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
And you do a really cool podcast. You want to tell people about that?
Thanks a lot. It's called The Geek All Stars. We just recorded an episode last night. Should be up early next week. We talked about all the games that came out at Gen Con and what we've played since Gen Con. So there's a lot of really good games, and I've got a few more up my sleeve to tell you guys in the future. But we'll save that for another one. But it should release. We've got a couple of interviews coming up this week that I'm going to do to put in there. But check out The Geek All Stars on iTunes or Stitcher.
That sounds great. I like a good tease. That's pretty awesome. Brian Dunaway, anything you'd like to tell anyone about?
Absolutely. Check out Comics Coast to Coast, where we interview cartoonists like Scott Johnson.
Oh, I did episode 200, and I loved it.
You did, and we're already on 212.
Geez, you've had 12 episodes since then?
13, actually. We'll have to post another one.
How long ago was that?
That was only a couple months ago. We've done one every week since we've talked to you.
Well,
so
that's because you guys are consistent.
That many weeks. Yeah. 13 weeks.
Consistent and dedicated to quality broadcasting. Broadcasting?
Broadcasting. Stick it right up with your prod.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for being here. What else do we have to tell you? Maybe these things right here. Email us, podcast@finalscoreshow.com. You can find us on the web at finalscoreshow.com. Big thanks to Paul Swickert for keeping that up. Twitter is a place we can be found as well. Nicole's bag for Nicole, who should be back next time. The Brian Dunaway, Brian. Me at Scott Johnson, and the show at TFS Show. That'll do it for us. For me, for Brian, for Nicole, and for the Geek Jock blog himself, Dan Patrice. We'll see you guys next time.
Let's play some games.
Well done, everyone.
You're very good.
Nice work. Yeah, that was fun. Thank you for hanging out with us. That was totally cool.
Yeah, man, I had a blast. Hopefully, I didn't talk your ear off.
No. You were.
I'll do it.
You fit right in, man. You fit right in. You're part of the family, as I like to say it.
Some kind of gamer.
So we'll do this
like
again.
A fungus that grow on you.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do this again sometime real soon. But beyond that, both of you have the kind of day you'd want your worst enemy not to have. And enjoy a cup of I don't know what.
Sanka.
All right, boys, have a great week.
What are you guys, 1,000 years old? Sanka, good Lord. All right, that's it. Thank you.